Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move on into our consensus agenda.
So I move we approve the claims from last month. The vouchers are $502,420.41. 2 payrolls in the amount of $486,639.70 for a grand total expenditure of $989,060.11. Along with that, I move we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Patrons' comments. So this is the time, if you have questions, you can ask.
How much was it? How much was the cost?
Total cost was $989,060.11.
Thank you.
If there's any more questions, if not, you'll have a chance at the end again to ask questions. Okay, if nothing, we're moving on to the public hearing for the additional appropriations. I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. All in favor? Motion passes. The public hearing is open. Does anyone like to speak on behalf of the public hearing? No? If so, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Close it.
No, go
All right,
ahead.
okay.
Give it to Ken, I'll second it.
Ken and Kevin. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right. Now we're going to go on to the bond procedures.
Just start with resolution, first resolution.
Okay. After the hearing on the additional appropriation, the school board must approve the appropriation of the bond proceeds expended. Unlike appropriations of tax dollars, this additional appropriation of bond proceeds is not required to be approved by the Department of Local Government Finance. The final bond resolution establishes the amount to be borrowed, maximum term of repayment, and the maximum interest rate. It also contains the details about the bonds, which as the form of the bonds. This resolution also approves the forms of the First Amendment to Master Continuing Disclosure Undertaking, the First Supplement to Master Continuing Discover Undertaking, and the Registrar and Payment Agent Agreement. The Securities and Exchange Commission requires that the school corporation enter into a Master Continuing Disclosure Undertaking before it issues the bonds. The school corporation has entered into this type of agreement previously. It basically requires that the school corporation agree to annually provide certain types of financial information to the SEC's EMA database and provide notice of certain material events on a timely basis.
Ready for motion?
Sure.
I move that we approve the resolution. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Hesser, do you have any items to add to that, or anything, any directions from your perspective as attorney?
No, I just wanted, the way that what she read was accurate as far as the reason you need to adopt those resolutions.
Yep.
And most significant one is the continuing disclosures, which just requires ongoing reporting, and that's what you approved.
Very good. All right. Thank
Do
you
we
for
need
being here.
separate vote for the 3 resolutions?
You
or is
can
that
approve all of them at once,
Okay.
that's what I understood the motion to be.
Yes, correct.
Okay?
Now, if that doesn't raise, what we just did, raise questions, kids, you're not paying attention. Okay?
Or you don't understand what we just did. So,
Does anybody understand what we just did? That's all right.
Small
I do.
explanation, please.
Mr. Hesser.
Yes. Well, why
Go ahead.
don't you share with our students here a little bit of what we just did?
So you know, Mr. Hesser is an attorney from Work and Boyne Law Office. We usually work with Tim Shelley, but this happens to be Mr. Hesser's area of expertise, so.
Yeah, the three resolutions that you just adopted, one is for additional appropriation. And the reason that you need that is because when you passed your appropriations at the beginning of the year, it did not account for the funds that you're gonna get from selling these bonds. So that additional appropriation is basically authorizing you to spend the funds that you'll get from the bonds. The second one, the final bond resolution, is it basically establishes the parameters of what you can sell for. You know, it establishes a maximum interest rate, a maximum payment, basically all of the maximum tax impact, all those kinds of things. You can't go above that. You can't go beyond those. They set limits. Hopefully, you get a better rate than you've authorized and so forth, a lower tax rate, all that stuff. But that bond resolution establishes maximums. And then the third one, and then you're saying that this is what the bonds will look like when they're issued. That's what they meant by form of bond. And then the last one, the resolution approving the supplemental documents as indicated. That's just, under the IRS regulations and SEC regulations, there's a multitude of forms and reports that Mr. McFarland has to submit every year and report to various entities, to the SEC, to Gateway in Indiana, and so forth. And that document just outlines that is a promise or covenant on your part that you will comply with all of those requirements.
Jane Herndon and Bond Counsel helps us through that. She actually works for Ice Miller. And she kind of gives us a lay of the land of when all of those things need to be brought to the board, when they need to be approved for an eventual September 11th bond sale, which will actually allow us to sell those bonds and utilize that money.
Typically, through state funding and property taxes, we handle the daily cost of operating the school through a couple different funds, the education fund and operations fund. When we have a bigger project, 4 or 5 years ago, might be more than that now, we built a TAC.
2019.
2 years ago, we sold a bond. We did the bleachers for the gym. When we have a big project like that, we have to go to not the community, but the outside and sell these bonds to raise that kind of money. This bond is for $1.85 million for just smaller projects, but accumulative. We think we can bring everything up to where it needs to be.
And when we say we sell bonds, in essence, we're borrowing money. Okay.
Public loves school bonds, right, because they're pretty secure. We're pretty good on paying back debt. So people jump on the opportunity to make a little bit of money off theirs. So that's why it's attractive to the public or other banks.
Any other questions, guys?
All right, we'll move on to personnel.
All right, saddle up here. Real quick. I got them partitioned off here. All right. It's the time of year when people are making decisions for next year. So the first few here, obviously a plethora of reasons for different stages in life and so on for these, but we're going to go ahead and go through these. So I would recommend, we're looking at probably the first 7 or 8 here, the resignation of Amber Kreft from the elementary cafeteria. Casey Yarborough from the pre-K instructional assistant. Abby Dreibelbis is an elementary instructional assistant. Brandon Young is junior high baseball coach. Paul Williams is junior high baseball coach. Adam Heckman from junior high robotics. Tori Kistler is junior high coach, cheer coach, and junior senior high school instructional assistant. And then Lindsay Oosley is part-time corporation nurse. So I recommend the approval of those resignations.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
We'll lump as many of these in as we can. So the next 2 are Matt Arvison and Riley Linville for junior high baseball head coach and assistant coach. I recommend the approval of those 2 gentlemen.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend, am I allowed to
You want me to
recommend?
recommend
Sure,
Bethany
yes,
Riffle as-
yes.
Recommend we hire Bethany Riffle as elementary part-time cook.
Been moved by,
He didn't move it, though. He recommended.
That's a motion.
Okay.
I moved. I moved.
Been
I
moved
recommend
by-
I move.
moved by Steve, seconded by
Say motion.
Kevin? Is that who I heard before we,
Kevin,
Yeah, I second it.
okay.
If Steve moves a motion.
Steve
I take that as
moved,
a
Kevin
motion.
seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Do you guys understand why Mr. Riffle couldn't?
Sorry, accused
Yeah.
of that, because it's my wife. I don't want to hire. No. She's working in the cafeteria as a cook. So she was part-time in the elementary, like working, like washing tables and stuff like that. But now she's moving to the kitchen, so it's a change in
That's
placement.
an approval.
That's a hire. Are we good? Sorry for the pause there. I recommend the approval of Kathy Engelmeyer as elementary cafeteria aide, which would be replacing Bethany.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, second by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of David Cook as the junior, senior high school English language arts teacher.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Lily Stetzel as a substitute teacher.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
She's only subbing in the elementary, as
Correct.
far as you know so far.
We try to
I was asking her.
shield that
The
for the
banquet.
first couple of years so they don't return to the high school.
I
Yep.
asked her how that was, if she's right out of high school.
Yep.
If that's weird.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
only doing the elementary.
yeah, that's a good note. Wes, we actually meet with all of the substitutes now, and we go through the sub-orientation if they weren't part of the substitute orientation at the beginning of the year. That's one of those conversations we would have with anybody that's coming back, especially probably within 2 years, unless there's other circumstances. So they're not necessarily in classrooms with their peers, and so
Yep.
just avoids issues. Was that, we good?
Yeah, we did that one.
I recommend the approval of Braden Cunningham as a junior high assistant football coach.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next two are related to wrestling, so I recommend the approval of Connor Pitney and Blake Hoffer as volunteer assistant wrestling coaches.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Recommend the approval, the next two, of Jessica Yoder as the junior high head cheer coach and varsity assistant cheer coach, and Sydney Scarberry as an elementary cheer coach.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
IHSAA has added girls wrestling this year as its own sport. So there will be a separate IHSAA tournament for girls wrestling. And so we have spoken to the union. That's gone through discussion to add a girls head varsity wrestling coach. And I recommend the approval of Jason Arvison for that position.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion?
I'm glad that's
All in
happening.
favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next two items will be lumped together, Wendy Ickes and Ryan Frick as volunteer junior high softball coaches.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Due to responsibilities that Kennedy Kroll has during the summertime, she has approved the individuals that I'm about to name to run junior high and elementary summer league basketball. Just working on skills, skill development, and then also playing local teams. So I recommend the approval of Ashley Faulkner as the summer league basketball head coach. Volunteer coaches under her: Jeremy Bulis, Amanda Bailey, Jayla Meister, Sam Stutzman, Aaron Feldman, and Courtney King.
I move we approve those.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Last but not least, I recommend the approval of the medical leave for Marion Ebersole. Just to report out, she is doing a lot better, but obviously not well enough to come back and put in a full day. So she's excited to get back and see her peers and colleagues and the kids. So
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, on to other business.
I recommend the approval of the Northern Indiana Education Service Center Shared Dietitian Consortium Service Contract. This is something that we've had the last several years through NESIC. They help us make menus. They help Margo along the path of just making sure we have correct meal contents. So that's Kayla Canott. She does a great job.
And that's cost out to the side, right?
Yes.
I move we approve that contract.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, second by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is the Corporation Policy 8210, Volume 26, Number 1, March 2024 School Calendar Waiver. Working with Ryan Snoddy and Neola, actually have put into our policy, and this will take some adjustments as far as our 1003 flexibility waiver, but actually allows our school corporation to be counted on minutes instead of days. We have received the performance standard school in the past, and that's been probably 2 or 3 years ago now. Actually, the high school just qualified for that the last 2 years. But that really gives us a lot of flexibility when it comes to whether that's professional development or a snow day or cancellation, those type of things, to where we don't feel like we have to make up a bunch of those at the end of the year. So this is actually now in our policy, which was recommended by the legislators to put it in there. Now we have to circle back and make our 1003 flexibility waiver reflect that it needs to be based on minutes, instead of them giving us, like they did this year in our calendar, 4 days for professional development or whatever that might be, whatever's asked for. So I'll work with Georgia Watson. I actually talk about her and how she's been a huge help this year with making sure we're compliant on that. But I do recommend the corporation policy as discussed.
Corporation Policy 8210.
Second.
Of Volume 26.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
And last but not least, this is an other. So we received this today. Would love to get moving on it just because of the lead time on the doors. There's a quote in front of you from S&K Construction for new doors as you enter door 4, the doors where you would enter the trench. If you look at those, they're pretty beat up and in need of some TLC. And so this is the time. This will actually be paid out of the 2023 bond, some of the money that was left over there, to really dress up that area and just make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye as we have customers come through those doors more often than any others.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Superintendent report.
All right, continuous improvement, April 22nd through the 24th. Our new curtains were put in, so those are looking really nice. The motor is running and working, so that's a great addition to, as we have been waiting for in our Performing Arts Center, so really like that. There will be some smaller improvements coming in this space this summer that may include, but are not limited to, new pulleys on those curtains, painting of a cyclorama on the back wall of the Performing Arts Center. That's just something that we will be doing, painting that white so you can actually cast a scene on the back wall to give it like more dimension. And then quotes for a new railing in the Performing Arts Center, which is the one to go up to the second tier. So I don't know if you call it a balcony necessarily, but so as we look at that, All Pro will be coming to look at those different items and will give us a quote on that. So we'll see where that fits into either the 2023 or the 2025 bond. Some of those items we'll take care of ourselves, but just as we continue to try to make that space nice. Ryan Sloan from Sweetwater was here on site on Friday to look at the adjustments needed in our sound systems in the trench, tack, and the Tundra. All of these improvements will be paid out of the 2023 bond. and will be completed in early June. We were hoping those would be done by graduation. He informed me on Friday that he just doesn't think his gentleman's gonna be able to do that. He's working on some pretty high-profile jobs around the country, and just said right now, it doesn't look like that's gonna be possible, or it could be last minute. And the concern with that is new systems, graduation, something's not working and we have to adjust. That's not a great place to be for all of us on that day or our kids. So multiple circumstances have led to that, and so I appreciate them letting us know. Kind of disappointing, but we'll make that happen. Multiple laws will impact our school policies this upcoming school year, some of which are the new literacy expectations that have been placed on those with the elementary teaching licenses. The state did a pretty poor job of rolling this out, and the legislators have a better understanding of why teachers and administrators have had such a negative reaction to this plan. We did have the opportunity to meet with 3 legislators, not last Friday, but the Friday before, to just share those concerns. It was legislation that was passed, but the Department of Education was then given the opportunity to roll that out. And the way that has happened has created a lot of frustration as far as the timelines and the pay for that. So the content is good, which tells us that it's good information, it's good professional development, but in the end, the timeline in which people have to do that in order to get paid, and/or they have to take a praxis test, another test, to essentially keep their license. So a lot of conversations are happening right now. We're pretty confident that that's going to be rolled back just a little bit, so we'll continue to keep you updated on that. We do have teachers that are engaged in this new requirement that will pay $1,200 for its completion. That's approximately $15 an hour. It's not that we're not appreciative of that, but in the end, for the time and effort and committing to 7 Saturdays in a row, and if you don't get to one of those Saturday meetings, you are bumped to a different cohort, and/or you can't get the $1,200 is pretty stringent, right? So we asked the legislators if we asked them to come the next 7 Saturdays for $15 an hour, if they would appreciate that, and it was crickets. So we will continue to keep you posted on that. Cell phones in the classroom is another bill that's drawn a lot of attention. As an administrative team, we'll continue to look at the pros and the cons of cell phone use in our high school. A more restrictive policy is likely in our school. And that's not to cause a bunch of crazy, but some of them will look very similar to what we already do. Just making sure that we're utilizing that appropriately. However, the rumor of banning cell phones is just that. That's just a rumor. There is a time and a place for phones. However, our society tends to have an obsession with phones that can get in the way of instruction, the instructional process, and achievement. Once again, we will keep our high school parents and students posted on this as we get closer to the solution that we think is best for our schools, students, and teachers. It's received a lot of attention, so we owe it to everybody to address that, and Mr. McCann and his leadership team has already discussed that among themselves, and we will continue to move forward with that. Shared leadership, the end of the year sprint is on. Testing, field trips, recognition, banquets, field days, finals, etc. Over the last couple of weeks, we had the honor to recognize CTE internship scholars. And just last Friday, we had a tremendous academic awards banquet that recognized 34 students who received over $77,000 in scholarship money. This year, we have 30 Triton scholars who will be graduating with at least 15 dual credit hours through Ivy Tech, and we have an additional 13 seniors that have earned at least 3 dual credits from Ivy Tech. I want to thank the Triton Student Life Foundation for their support of this banquet and their desire to support the Triton scholars that have set themselves apart as future leaders. Social responsibility, I want to thank Work One for putting on a community resource fair. The attendance was poor, but we are thankful for the effort and the people who came out to share the work that is going on in our town and showing those resources. On July 27th, the town will utilize the Triton parking lot for the inaugural Touch a Truck event. We thank Macy Helton and the town for putting this on and asking us to help host that. So if it's good for kids and it's good for the town, I feel like it's good for us. So we'll take part in that. Accountability, I did mention, I'm not going to belabor the point. I met with Georgia Watson about the 1003 flexibility waiver. She's just been awesome. So the Indiana Department of Education is admittedly going through some struggles with the new elections and just not knowing who's going to have jobs and all of that, but she's been rock solid And I just personally want to thank her for that. Same thing with Ryan Snoddy, who takes the time to look through policies and just help us through that. Plus the adopted policy that you guys just did tonight that allows us to base our school year on minutes. High expectations. On May 7th, author, mentor, Major League Baseball chaplain, and motivational speaker Tom Roy joined our Triton Football Leadership Council for a time of reflection and discussion about his book, Flock. This is an incredible read in how shepherds take care of their flock using these leadership principles to refine our own leadership philosophy and how to apply this to leading our peers in preparation for a season or in the midst of conflict. So just an awesome opportunity for our kids to be part of that. I do want to congratulate our Lady Trojan tennis team who went undefeated in the HNAC. So that's an awesome feat. So all conference honors go to, first of all, we won conference. All conference honors go to Danica Kuntz, Jenna Beulah, Cheyenne Hawley, Kate Howell, Nadia Stetler, Allie Westifer, Sierra Hawley. Second in conference as a team goes to, that's our track team. First place all conference champs are Javen May, Cole Shively, Caden Large, Cameron Callahan, Antonio Johnson, Cole Shively, Cam Callahan, Javen May. Also set a time of 45.90 that night. So congratulations, gentlemen that are in here. So well done.
Is that new school record? Is
Um,
that new school record?
I don't think that was a school record. I think they broke the school record last year. And I apologize, I do not have the girls' track ones on here, but I will make sure I get those next meeting. Second place all conference, we did have Javen, Cole, Caden, Dante, Isaac Quintana for a couple of those, and those were just for different races. Last but not least, alignment. iLearn scores continue to pour in. There's some really good growth in some areas, and there's still need for intervention in others. We'll continue to look at this data along with our local data and evaluations to make sure the proper adjustments are being made to planning, curriculum, and instruction. We ended the year with 75% of our students reading at or above grade level, and that is, I believe, 4% higher, and as of right now, math is up about 4% as well, but not all of that data is in. So some good improvements, but still work to be done. That's all I have. Be more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Anyone have questions? Anyone else?
We are very appreciative and pulling on the department to do curriculums and all the work being done. It's very nice.
Ellis, I appreciate you saying that, bud. Thank you.
It helps a lot. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, we will move on to building reports.
Well, things are hopping at the elementary. I'm not gonna say how many days we have left of school, but everybody knows, right? So last week, we were able to celebrate our staff. We had Teacher Appreciation Week all week, and I feel like there were a lot of things that blessed teachers, and we did shout outs to all staff, because everybody's kind of an instructional leader who works in the building and impacts students. So I just appreciate our teachers, our instructional, our support staff, both in the office and in classrooms, our custodians, our bus drivers, and also our cafeteria crew. So everybody works hard to make a difference and make Triton a great place to be. And so I hope they felt loved and appreciated last week. We also were able to have our Shining Stars have their first performance, both publicly and also for our students on Friday. And that's our 4, 5, 6 after-school choir that Ms. Oliver does. And so I thought they did a really good job. This is only their second year. Last year we had, some participation. It was brand new, and this year I think the numbers tripled. And they had a lot of enthusiasm and talent as well. And so that was really fun for everybody to see. So I hope we have even more students come out for that next year. We also Friday celebrated our seniors coming over in the senior walk, and we appreciate Mr. McCann sharing that with us. I think hopefully it was good for the seniors, but it's also good for our students to see kind of the end goal or another goal, and to have a future story in what we're working for every day, and what that leads to at the end. That's a culmination of a huge accomplishment, some that some people never reach. And so we want our kids to put that, have that in front of them as an example. So I appreciate that opportunity to do that. This week we have, we had an Ag Day today, so again, the high school helping us out with providing something special for our kids, a hands-on learning experience. They had beautiful weather that was rescheduled from last week when it was kind of rained all day. So we were able to do that today. Our fifth graders were doing some outdoor learning and group things at Potawatomi Wildlife Park through the Camp Amigo program. They're gonna be doing that tomorrow, as long as the rain holds out. They said they're gonna push through. If I could change one thing right now, it would be the ability to control the weather for all the things that are going on this week. So anyway, we have those things going on. We had a high ability enrichment pullout that also was affected by weather, but they still did a great job. I appreciate the teachers who planned that last week. We have other things going on coming up in the next 2 weeks, but including data analysis, where our teachers will be looking at our end-of-year data to see how we can improve, how we can help our students improve, and celebrate the things that have really gone well this year. So that's Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday, we will have our push cards, and I'm just curious as to, anybody of our students in here were part of push cards? There's one. Anybody else remember? Okay. Do you remember reading the book? Do you have any clue what it's about? Anybody tell me?
A war between people who ran shops that were just little push carts and big business, such as shipping companies.
Absolutely. Good job. It's kind of excellent. Budget program. Yes. Yeah. It was really a satire, kind of on like World War II, but it was all about these shops, and so they all get a chance. It's a fun book with really interesting characters and so forth. But the whole idea is now they get to build their own push cart businesses and compete against each other, more or less, for business. And so it'll be a fun time. So I'm glad you guys remember that. So that's something that I think all of our kids look forward to each year, to go spend their quarters and dollars. But also it's a great learning experience, I think, in many ways for our students. So well done. So that's this Friday. Then we also have preschool graduation coming up. We have more study trips coming on the last day of school, all school field day, which is a big one on Thursday, the day before school's out. And then I guess the other thing that I wanted to mention, just our summative conferences with teachers and so forth to go over all the good things they've been doing this year, areas for improvement and so forth, and that will be coming up as well next Monday and Tuesday. I think that's it.
All right, for the junior, senior high school, just a real busy time of the year. Some things that have already passed. We had our CTE internship banquet on April 24th. Kosciuszko Youth Leadership graduation was on May 1st. I think we had 6, Tom, do you know that? 6 kids that were a part of that.
Correct.
So we had a really good turnout for Triton at the KYLA. FFA banquet on May 5th. We had a words banquet on May 10th, and then as Ms. Cook said, our senior walk and senior picture took place on May 10th as well, and we had great weather. This week we have data meetings starting tomorrow for language arts and math. We have high school awards program on Wednesday in the morning. We have Trojan Wars, hopefully, on Friday, depending on weather. We'll see how that goes. Senior class, as well as our staff, we have a cookout. We're going to do that on the same day as Trojan Wars. That's Friday the 17th. Variety show. This is the first year we're doing or I should say they chose to do a variety show this year versus like a play or a musical, just because of some changes. I think they were originally talking about doing multiple shows, but I think it's just going to be one show, and that'll be on Saturday night at 7, and they'll get the word out on some of those changes here soon. Skill graduation for our kids that attend Knox will be on Tuesday the 21st. Choir concert on the 21st, band concert on the 23rd. We have junior high awards on the 23rd in the morning. Final exams are on Thursday. Those are odd classes, guys. And then on Friday we have our even classes. Little quiz here for our seniors. All right. Graduate, yeah. You guys are supposed to know this stuff. Graduation rehearsal is what day?
Friday.
graduation? June second. What time do you have to be there?
1:30.
1 o'clock. What time do the doors open? 1:15. What time does it start? 2 o'clock. So June 2nd, 2 o'clock. Football staff comes. K through 12, bus drivers, everybody. Hope to see everybody. Any questions? Thank you.
Can I just add something I forgot real quick? So I want to congratulate, some of them are in the audience and I feel the glares. Addison Veers was our top winner of the night, taking first place in all conference title in both shot put and discus. Congratulations. Second place all conference honorable mention goes to the varsity relay. Jocelyn Faulkner, Rory Heckman, Macy Carson, and Katie Reichert. Katie Reichert also received second in all conference. Honorable mention in long jump, Riley Beamish finished the night in second place and earned all conference in honorable mention in pole vault. So I meant to put that in there and I apologize, I forgot, but we got it mentioned no
Got
matter
it
what.
covered. All right, if there's no other business, we will move to adjourn at 7:34.